Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on a beautiful night for what apparently is the International Observe the Moon Night for a live stream from Late Night Astronomy. My name is Michael, and I'm glad to have you here at the telescope. If this is your first time observing with us, please be sure to like the video and consider subscribing to this channel. But either way, just enjoy the conversation and the views as we look at this beautiful image of the moon for a little bit of time tonight. As we've got some of you logging on, please be sure to leave comments and questions and let me know of anything that you're doing tonight observing. Excellent, David. Thank you for telling me that. So you've got a naked eye view of the moon. That's excellent. I'm looking tonight through an 8-inch Dobsonian telescope. We're looking here at about 100 times magnification using my iPhone to live stream it through the eyepiece and using 2 lunar filters to cut down on the glare, which through the iPhone can be a little much sometimes. See, we've got some more people logging on. Well, thank you, Paige. I really appreciate that. Paige is an early supporter of this channel and a longtime friend. So, Paige, I appreciate your comment. Excellent, a report from Topeka, Kansas. So yeah, observing reports that you all have. If you're out with your telescope tonight, let me know. If you're just looking out the window to look at the moon, let me know. We've got just some beautiful craters that we can see here. Typically, I like to observe the moon when it's about first quarter or less, but couldn't miss International Observe the Moon Night for 2020 to share that experience with you all as it slowly moves across the field of view. Excellent. And I see telescope and binoculars being used. What type of telescope do you specifically have? Oh, thank you for saying that, Paige. And Daryl, thank you for your support throughout the years as well. I've greatly appreciated it. Thank you. Yeah, observing equipment, telescopes, binoculars, whatever you all have, please let me know what you own or what you're observing with tonight. That's an excellent telescope for the planets and solar system objects. So you're looking at a refractor. So 120 millimeter, that's a good size refractor. So that's an excellent scope. I assume you use it for a lot of objects, but do you primarily use it for deep sky imaging, lunar observing, planets? What exactly are you looking at for that type of refractor? I've got a pair of 15 by 70 binoculars as well. If I wasn't live streaming, I'd probably be out tonight looking at those with the moon as well. I still think binoculars are the best way to observe the moon under most conditions. Appreciate some of you that are just showing up. If you could like the video, subscribe to this channel, let me know what you're observing tonight, what you're seeing of the moon, or even some of the planets that are out tonight as well. Abby, thank you for that comment. I appreciate your support as well. Your support means a great deal. If you've got any observing reports for you all, please let me know. Like I said, this is about 100 times magnification on the moon. I think that's kind of the sweet spot for a lot of telescopes. Definitely how I like to observe it most nights. That's a great setup for visual observing. I've just started to get into astrophotography about 1.5 years ago for deep sky objects, and that's a whole different other thing of equipment and money and stuff, but it's an exciting trend in the hobby for sure. That's right, Abby. Mars is looking incredibly good tonight. It is just rising from the south, from the east, excuse me, in where I live. Right over the tree line, so not something I can see quite yet, but if you all see the moon up in the sky and then you look towards the east, you should see a bright amber color star, which is Mars. Mars is going to have its closest approach to Earth in about 2 weeks, and it's going to be a very good time to observe it and image it through the month of October with the telescope. As we've got more people logging on, my name's Michael, this is Late Night Astronomy, and we have a live view of the moon for International Observe the Moon Night. I'm here in my backyard with my telescope, just sharing this experience with you all. As you're logging in, if you'd like to say hi, please be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below or in the chat menu. Let me know if you're out observing tonight, any equipment that you have, or anything y'all want to talk about dealing with astronomy. Any topics in the news or anything that's been going on lately. Even now, this time of year, not this time of year, during this phase of the moon, you can still make up the shadows bouncing off of the bottom parts of some of the mountain ranges. Typically after a first quarter moon, the moon kind of looks flat because the sunbeams are just kind of hitting it straight on. That's why I tend to like the moon being a little younger than this in terms of phases to see it. But even at this point right here, you can look down here, you can still see some of the depth of the craters. They really kind of show their shape and size. Greetings to California. Hope everything is going well for you out there. And I guess it is still twilight there, so you may not be quite out yet observing the moon, but you can enjoy a little bit of a view here from the East Coast. But great to have some California viewers with us tonight. Thank you for letting me know that you were here and where you're from. Excellent, excellent. Some incredible skies in Virginia, particularly that part of Virginia. So I bet y'all do have some really good views there. That's an interesting question. So I have not noticed anything dealing with that in terms of how the moon has looked through my telescope. Depending on how things are set up, sometimes the moon can be imaged in different ways. Through a reflector telescope like this, the image of the mirror is kind of reversed because the moon is bouncing off a mirror and then coming up to the eyepiece and then coming to the iPhone for you all to see it. But other than that, it's been a pretty normal sight for me over the past few months and years. Excellent. So we've got some viewers from Delaware. This is wonderful. It was cloudy here. It was cloudy here earlier in the day, but around 8:30 it started to burn off. So that's kind of why I set this for a 10 o'clock live stream. But we have beautiful clear skies here where I live. Central Florida, excellent to have you here, and thank you for that question earlier. Excellent questions coming in from you all as we observe about this. Anything you all want to talk about with astronomy, any questions that you have? I'm just thrilled with how this image came out of the moon. Like I said, it was dark earlier, but we're looking now at some very nice clear skies with the constellations out. I can see Jupiter just peeking out from behind a tree, Saturn that's behind a tree for me, Mars that's behind my carport, but it's a great night out here. If you're looking to get a good telescope, I've got a video coming out in about 3 or 4 weeks, hopefully, that's going to be looking at budget telescopes. I've done a video on budget binoculars, budget eyepieces, so really like solid telescopes that you can get for hopefully under $150 or so to get you into it. And they will be excellent scopes to look especially at the moon and planets. A good 70, 60 millimeter refractor is an excellent way to go with that. Got a number of you all that are watching right now, a lot of new people coming in. Thank you all for watching this. Thank you for being a part of this live stream. I'm Michael with Late Night Astronomy. If you could like this, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah, Mars is going to be approaching opposition on, I believe, October 13th, so roughly 2 weeks from now. In roughly 2 weeks, Mars will be at its closest. Now, that's not going to look dramatically closer than it does now, but if you're into imaging Mars or viewing Mars, the sweet spot for it is going to be the middle of October. But really, any time from now through early to mid-November will be some of the best views that you have of Mars. And then we start to move away from it, and then about every 2 years, Mars comes back into a really close approach. But thankfully, the moon, as you can see here tonight, other than going through its phases, is just an incredible view for us to see. This is through an 8-inch reflector. This is with a 12.5 millimeter eyepiece. This is roughly 100 times magnification. Celestron StarSense 130. Off the top of my head, I've been telling people a lot lately about zoom eyepieces. I have I've viewed them before. I don't own any, but I've got some friends that have them and I've used them. The Celestron zoom eyepiece that I believe is 8 to 24 millimeters, typically around $70. That's a really good starter eyepiece for a lot of telescopes because it helps you to understand the magnifications. It gets you kind of 5 or 6 eyepieces built into one. And for most scopes, the quality of that's going to be very good. It's not going to be as perfect as some really expensive Nagler eyepieces, but you also don't want to be spending $400 on your first eyepiece. So a good zoom eyepiece from Celestron or Orion is where I typically point most people for their first purchases. Anytime, George. Thanks for the question. The moon has consistently been one of my favorite objects to observe for quite a long time. Sometimes it can get in the way if you're into hunting deep sky objects like nebulas or galaxies. It's very much something that can really kind of block that out in terms of making it harder to see some of those dimmer objects. We've got here the terminator line of the moon, which is basically where the shadow ends on it, cutting down through this middle portion here. Looking here at some of the mare or the Mare features of the moon, which are the darker ones here. This is where you get the famous images of, you know, the man on the moon, the rabbit on the moon. There are all kinds of different things you can look up of people past and present who have looked up at the moon and from these different darker shaded regions have seen different faces or objects on it. Last 2 years ago now, I did the Astronomical League's Lunar observing program where they have you go through and with a telescope categorize the different craters on the moon, different features. It's a really nice way to learn the surface of the moon. You go through all the different phases from cresting to waxing, to first quarter to full moon to new moon. If you're interested in learning some of the technical aspects of the moon, the Astronomical League's observing program is a very nice way to do that. If you're out there watching and you are out with binoculars or a telescope tonight, please let me know what your observing equipment is. If you're into imaging the moon with your phone or a DSLR or any equipment, please let me know about that. Yeah, the Astronomical League is a wonderful organization. I was fortunate enough to be the president of the local chapter where I live the past 2 years. Great group of people, how they're run nationally and locally. I think very highly of that organization. The SLU website, thank you for that suggestion. So that's one of those that allows you to go and control telescopes from different areas of the world and look at different objects. That's something I have not done, but that's a popular way to even image some objects that I've seen some people do. As we keep having people joining the live stream, thank you all for being here tonight and being a part of the late night astronomy community. I always enjoy talking astronomy with you all. I've enjoyed putting these videos up over the past few months, and I have greatly appreciated your support from just watching the video or subscribing or just letting me know your questions. From what I've been told, the Celestron 8x24 does have good eye relief. It has better eye relief than most eyepieces that come with a telescope. Again, I've not personally used that eyepiece myself, but observing it through other friends' telescopes and also from other people that I know that have it, they found it to be a comfortable view, especially for the price, being around $70 or so, I think, at least in the United States. It is International Observe the Moon Night. We've got more people logging on to the stream. It is great having everyone here tonight, and it is a beautiful night here on the east coast of the United States where I live. The clouds cleared off. We've got Jupiter and Saturn that are coming out from behind a tree where I live. We've got the moon that is looking wonderful. We've got Mars rising out of the east. This is a excellent time of year for astronomy. I love the fall, particularly on the East Coast, in terms of the temperature, in terms of the views. The winter sky is slowly starting to come into view. It's a great time of year for observing. Even though it's International Observe the Moon Night, I think I'm going to move the telescope over to Jupiter for a minute, if you all wouldn't mind. I've got this set up in a different way tonight, using different filters to try to cut down on the glare. So I'm actually really interested to see how a planet looks. So I might go over to Jupiter for 1 minute, and then we'll come right back to the moon for what the main event is of tonight. But you all keep chatting with each other. We've got great information going on there out there. Sometimes the comments go through pretty quickly, so if I miss your question or comment, I do apologize for that. Please feel free to leave a comment in the comments section once this officially posts to the YouTube channel later tonight. But it is wonderful being here with you all right now. Let me try to move over to Jupiter real quick, kind of just for me, just to test out how it looks under this new setup. Let's see. Let's go over to Jupiter real quick from the moon. All right, so that's Jupiter at about 100 times magnification. For those of you all watching, how does that view look for you? Does that look too dim? Are you able to make out any cloud belts with it? It probably looks a little bit different for you than it does for me. This is just kind of testing out a new setup, but how does that image of Jupiter look? Again, we're looking at Jupiter right now. We are doing a International Observe the Moon Night, but I'm just testing out something real quick for Jupiter as it moves across the field of view. As we've got more of you all looking and joining. Okay, hard to see the cloud belts. So for the planets, it's probably still best to be about 200 times magnification versus 100. Thank you all for the feedback on that. I appreciate it. More people logging on. Great to see you all here. We are going to move back to the moon, which is our very bright main event of the night. If I can find it here in the eyepiece. There we go. Great having you all here as more and more people join. Feel free to introduce yourself. If you'd like to tell us where you're from, if you own any equipment for astronomy, be it for observing or imaging. I'm Michael with Late Night Astronomy, and it is great to have you all here tonight. Please like this video, and please consider subscribing to this channel. Through any size telescope, you can just get great views of the moon. Whether it's your first time observing or whether you're a long time observer, it's a target to just keep coming back to. Telescopes that I've owned over the years, I started with a refractor when I was really young, probably a 60 millimeter refractor, moved up to a 4.5 inch Dobsonian, and now have an 8-inch Dobsonian telescope. Thank you for that feedback on Jupiter. I appreciate it. Jupiter is looking very nice right now. I put out a video for imaging Jupiter a couple months ago, and had one on Mars come out recently, and hope to do one on Saturn soon. I'm just kind of dabbling in imaging using my telescope and DSLR camera, but more often than not, I still enjoy just coming out to observe the telescope. Imaging is great, but going out by yourself or with friends, if you can do that with social distancing now, is really still, I think, just is the core of what we do, is just being out there with the telescope on a hot night or a cold night and observing the moon, the planets, or deep sky objects. More and more people logging on. Thank you for being here. This is Late Night Astronomy, and if y'all have any questions on anything as we watch the moon, please feel free to chat amongst yourself or ask me questions. Yeah, Titan is quite a moon. I did the observing program for the solar system with the Astronomical League last summer. Appreciate the thumbs up. Thank y'all very much. Good question on Pluto. I have never been able to verify that I've seen Pluto through my telescope. I probably have, especially under darker skies with where I used to live. But to really verify Pluto, you have to kind of track it over a couple nights or maybe even a week and compare it to stars near it. So if you're looking at the same part of the sky and you notice a star moving a little bit night by night, you know that that's Pluto. But it's really, really hard to see. So I have never officially logged that I've seen Pluto, but I probably have and I didn't realize it. But you've got to be under dark skies. I would suggest a 10 or 12-inch telescope if you seriously want to document Pluto. But if you're under really dark skies, I think you could get it with an 8-inch telescope, but it would have to be very, very nice conditions to see that. I've seen all the planets from Mercury, which is hard to see. I've viewed that 3 times through the telescope. Venus, I've seen a bunch. Earth, when we live here, I've seen that. Mars, incredible every 2 years. Jupiter and Saturn every year are just such a treat. Uranus and Neptune I've seen through the telescope. They look like very small blue stars. At 200 or 400 times magnification, they can look like spheres. But the main show for me is typically Jupiter and Saturn. Mars as well, but again, it's only about every 2 years that you get views of that. And tonight, thankfully, we're enjoying the moon. And I'm enjoying spending time with you all here tonight. We've got a good number of people logging on to be a part of this. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you all being here, whether you're familiar with the channel or this is your first time being here. It's great to have you all observing out here with me. My name is Michael, and I run Late Night Astronomy. One of the main questions I always get asked about the moon is, can you see the flag on the moon? Whenever we're doing observing programs with my local club, it's one of the first things people want to know because they're so excited about it. They're like, can you see the flag on the moon? And the answer is no. We can see the flag on the moon with satellites that are orbiting the moon that various countries control that have taken pictures of the original Apollo landing sites. But even at 200 or 400 times magnification, which is the highest I can realistically go with this telescope, the smallest craters that I'm able to make out are still like miles wide. So you're talking about a question of resolution. Even the most powerful telescope in the world couldn't resolve that much detail. But we do have images of it, obviously from NASA, but also from other countries and space agencies that are currently exploring the moon from orbit. I was thinking of doing a series on the channel called Ask an Amateur Astronomer with things like that, just kind of basic observing questions, basic things like, can you see the flag on the moon? I might get to doing that video series sometime early next year. Got a few more things planned right now to finish out 2020 though. Still just an absolutely beautiful night out here. A little bit of a chill in the air. You can hear the creatures chirping and making their sounds. Got a plane flying over. I accidentally caught an image, a video of a plane flying between my telescope and the moon about 5 months ago. I think I titled it "E.T. Flies Commercial." Short little video on the channel, but the plane just flew perfectly in front of the moon when I was actually taking a video of it with my DSLR. And that was an incredible experience. I think that was back in late March or early April of this year. If you'd like to go back and check that out on the channel. Thank you, Paige. I enjoyed that video too. It was that was a really, really neat experience. Might have just heard my dog Zoe drinking water behind me. So if you heard that, that was not me drinking water. That was my dog drinking water. Hey, Zoe. You want to say hi to everybody? All right, that's Zoe licking my leg. I try to go live on the channel about once or twice a month. A lot of it's weather dependent if things are going on. I plan on going live with this setup for Mars when it is at its closest approach on, I believe, October 13th. So probably in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll do this again. But once or twice a month, I like to go live like this. And I'm trying different setups. This is just my iPhone connected to an eyepiece. Connected to my telescope. This isn't anything too fancy in terms of ways of having this set up, but so far for what I enjoy doing for this channel, it works really well. The app I'm using for this is just YouTube Live, which is kind of limiting. I can't go in and adjust things like shutter or exposure. So, but this is just the YouTube app streaming this live to you all right now. I couldn't figure out what was going on with the moon, and then I realized it was because it is moving behind a tree. So let me move this for just 1 second, and we'll continue to observe for a little bit without a tree getting in the way. It was slightly going out of focus, and it was getting a little dim on us there. So let me see if I can find it again for us. There we go, that's better. Trees are beautiful things, but sometimes for astronomy, boy, do they just get in the way. Stellarium is excellent software. I tend to use Sky Safari on my phone, but Stellarium I have loaded on my PC, and I'll use that for some videos just to explain the night sky to people, and it's a really great way to chart out what you might want to observe for our night. What type of apps or software do you all like to use for astronomy? Sky Safari is the main one I use. I know Stellarium was just mentioned by someone. Any other tips for me out there that you all have on programs that I could use for the YouTube channel, or that would help people out in general for getting into astronomy? If you're just joining us, I'm Michael, and this is Late Night Astronomy, and we are celebrating the International Observe the Moon Night, which I did not know was officially a thing until 6 p.m. today, so I thought we would do a live stream to celebrate it. Starwalk 2, okay, I remember Starwalk on the iPad. I used to use that, so that's still around. Okay, Starwalk 2. I'll take a look at that one. Another vote for Starwalk 2. There we go. It seems like there's an international day for everything, but you know, if there's an international day for things for astronomy, I'm not going to disagree with that. Sky Portal. Rob, do you use Sky Portal to connect your telescope to equipment, or is Star Portal simply an app to like know the nighttime sky, the stars and constellations? How do you use that app? I'm not familiar with it. Slew. Okay, another person talking about Slew. Thank you, David. Excellent suggestions, everybody. Thank you all. Okay, so Sky Portal is a Celestron app. Got it. Thank you. Distant Suns. Okay, I do not know that one. I'll have to check that one out as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been on here about 30 minutes, and I've greatly enjoyed my time with you all, but I think I am going to go in and call it a night for myself as we let the moon do one more pass through the eyepiece here. Again, I so appreciate... Oh, well, thank you. That's nice of you to say. So we've got someone who's bringing their mom in to get a view of the moon through this. So that's what this is all about, is just sharing this experience with others. So that's excellent to hear. That makes my night. Thank you for sharing that. And say hi to your mom for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a night here at the Scope. I've just been so blown away by the support of the channel on recent videos and in the comments section. I've enjoyed putting them together. It's been a nice thing for me. But thank you all so much for your support on this. Thank you for the conversations that we all have when we observe these. I kind of view this as my virtual way of just outreaching to you all, particularly now when it's time for people to get together. If you've got a local astronomy club in your area, try to get their contact information. That's an excellent way to get involved in this hobby. But keep coming on back here as well, and we'll do live streams like this once or twice a month to talk, to observe different objects. I try to improve it a little bit every time in terms of the technology and how it works. But thank you all so much for your support. And I really appreciate everything. So I hope you all have a wonderful night. And as always, clear skies from Late Night Astronomy.